In this video, I'm going to be going over my decentralized passive income earnings for the month of December 2022. Last month, I covered my passive earnings for November, and today I'm going to be going over what I earned in December. And so we're going to hop on over to the spreadsheet, and let's walk through this. So Helium, pretty bad on the earnings side. I only got 1.6 HNT, which at the time, and all these prices were taken on December 31st, I believe. So it was $2.42 for the month. Not great. One thing I will say about Helium, I have a SynchroBit hotspot. I was one of the lucky people, I suppose, in the beginning that was able to get a SynchroBit. And primary reason I have that is when I pre-ordered, SynchroBit was the only company who actually would give you a refund. They guaranteed a refund if you wanted to cancel before they shipped the unit. And so that was a big factor. Early on, the hotspots were pretty pricey, and I went with SynchroBit just for that reason, that in the event something happened, I could cancel the pre-order and be fine. I ended up getting my hotspot, been running it for, like a year or so, and it's been great for the most part. And one of the things that has happened, SynchroBit has gone bankrupt. However, Helium came out the other day and said that they will be taking over SynchroBit hotspots. So they will be supporting them in the migration to the Solana network, and they will be continuing to support those hotspots, which is great news for us SynchroBit users. There was a big fear that the way the Helium network works is they push out firmware updates. However, the manufacturers have to push out those updates to the devices, right? So Helium themselves don't push out the firmware updates. It's up to each of those device manufacturers to push out those firmware updates, OTA. And because SynchroBit shut down, essentially there was that risk that our devices weren't going to be able to be updated. In addition, they are CM Force. There's no SD card slot on the early SynchroBits, which is what I have. They have eMMC. So essentially you have to solder onto the board to connect it and reflash it. It's a big convoluted process. There's no SSH access or anything. They're locked down pretty good. So that's great news that Helium came out and announced that they're supporting it. As you can see, my earnings aren't that great. I am in an apartment. I don't have the antenna outside. I do have a balcony. However, we have a policy that we're not allowed to have equipment out on the balcony. And so I have it on a window away from a wall so that I don't get the bounce back. It does have a pretty big antenna on it, but it is indoors. Moving on, Honeygain. Honeygain was really good this month. So I earned 3.89 jump tokens. Again, I am auto paying out in jump for that 10% bonus. And this also does include a little bit of a referral bonus. I forget the exact percentage, but for everybody that signs up using my link, I do get a small percentage of what they earn. And so this includes that as well. But essentially, we got paid out the equivalent of $9 this month. So that's a nice plus. Mysterium, another bandwidth sharing one. We actually got 27.9 Mysterium tokens. And again, this is on the Polygon. I believe this is on the Polygon network. And that was $7 in payouts for the month. So that was pretty good. That was $16 just between those two bandwidth sharing apps. And once we get down here, you'll see I had other bandwidth sharing apps as well. We'll talk about those when we get there. Next up was Storj. This is my primary storage server. And if you remember last month, I talked that I had reached either the 10 or 12 month threshold, whatever it is, where they don't hold back any amount anymore. so it's 100% payout. There's basically no collateral being held back anymore on my account. So still have just a 4 terabyte drive in there, so 3.5 terabytes is the storage I've allocated. It is using 2.47 terabytes, and for 2.47 terabytes, I'm getting $11.27 for the month of December. So that was really nice. That's pretty good earnings there. And then I have a second storage node. And again, you can run as many storage nodes as you want behind your network. You just need to set up port forwarding to each of them. And when you do the announcement, you just announce whatever port it's running on. So I have a second node that has 14 terabytes of storage. And this is the one I just spun up last month. Or maybe it was 2 months ago. And it's currently using 346 gigabytes of data. And what you're going to see here is my earnings is $1.58, and it's because it is a newer node. So I earned $6.32 off of that 347 gigabytes. However, $4.74 was held back. So just keep that in mind. That will happen for those first 10 to 12 months. Early on, those first 3 months or so, it's holding back a significant portion, and then it tapers down percentage-wise. Once you hit that 10 to 12 month, they're no longer holding anything back. And once you hit like 2 years, I think it is, you get 50% of that held back amount returned to you automatically, and then the remaining 50% is automatically returned to you if you gracefully exit the network. You need to properly shut down the storage node and do a graceful exit, not just shut the service off. If you just shut the service off, you're basically forfeiting that held back amount. But if you gracefully exit, you immediately get that 50% back. And then after 2 years, you also get that 50% back if you're still on the network. SCPrime, once again, we had 3.5 terabytes of capacity on the network. However, we're only using 356 gigabytes, and that actually equated to the same as the storage node, which was interesting. You can say the numbers are pretty close here, and is $1.58 is what we earned, which was 12 SCP for that month. So this is something very interesting to see. These are two completely separate networks. They're both decentralized storage, and we pretty much were sharing around the same amount of data on both. And so that's definitely cool to see. A big difference between these two networks is SCPrime requires an upfront license. You can kind of think of it as an upfront fee to get onto the network, providing storage that can't be returned to you. Where with Storj, they're going to hold a little bit each month for those first 12 months, but eventually you can get that amount back. And moving on to some other bandwidth sharing apps that I tried. And some of these I'm going to be stopping just because it wasn't worth it, and a couple I will continue to use. First off is Peer-to-Profit. This is another really popular one. It's very similar to Honeygain. And I only earned 52 cents for the whole month on it. And so I basically decided I'm going to stop using this. Yeah, the 52 cents adds up, but it takes a while to hit their payout threshold. I would get like one payout, maybe once a year, once every 2 years. For me, it's not worth it. So I am going to stop using this one. Packet Stream, however, I'm going to continue to use, and I got $4.26 with this. Now, one thing I do want to say, Honeygain, Mysterium, and all of these all ran on my same HiveOS rig. I'm basically taking, if we add up all of these real quick, you can basically see that I earned $22 of the $40 just providing extra bandwidth on a HiveOS rig. Well, it's definitely cool to see that. That is a nice bonus. $22 a month. for some people, that, that could potentially cover power for a rig, for a single rig, depending on your electrical cost. So essentially, you could just be covering power with sharing some extra bandwidth. Or you can just take that, exchange that into cryptocurrency of your choice, and hold it. Alright, so moving on. Packet stream, right, was $4.26. Very nice on that one. Traffic monetizer was only 20 cents. BitPing actually didn't get really anything. It was actually 0.003. So basically 3/10 of a cent. Not worth it to run in my case. IP Royals, Pawns. This has been renamed to, I think, Pawns app. But this is essentially the IP Royals proxy service that you can host and sell. And for this one, I got 38 cents. Same thing with peer-to-profit. It would just take so long to reach a payout. It's not worth it to run it for me. I only have one IP address, so I'm only running one instance of each of these, and so it's just not worth it. Repocket, again, it was like half a cent or 3/10 of a cent. Not worth it for me. Proxy Rack was 28 cents. So that was another one that pretty much anything that was less than $1, I just decided, it's not worth it. I'd go ahead and stop it. And so, effective January 1st, I stopped basically Proxy Rack, Repocket, IP Royals, BitPing, Traffic Monetizer, and Peer-to-Profit. If you are interested in trying out any of these, I do have referral links in the description below. Feel free to check those out, or just head over to the website if you don't want to use a referral link. The referral links, I'm not 100% sure on those. Some of those may give you free credits, like Honeygain did. I think Honeygain was giving everybody $5 whenever you signed up. I saw that some people were taking advantage of that, so I appreciate that. And last but not least, I put out a video on running a 01 coin masternode. 01 coin masternodes are extremely cheap. It is available on South Exchange. I transferred some Dash. I ended up buying like 5,000 coins. You only need 1,000 to run a masternode. And even at 1,000, it's like 20 cents. It's not much. But what's interesting about this, because it's a really small network, and they don't have that many masternodes running, it is cheap to get in, and the ROI is insane. So if you look here, I earned in the month, and I started this on December 12th, I earned 1,266 ZOC. If you remember back, it only costs 1,000 to run it, which means I already broke even on that. And so 23 cents may not sound like a lot, but again, you're able to run this on a HiveOS rig in the background, along with other things. If you start stacking a lot of masternodes, it could really add up, and if you hold those coins, it can definitely add up. I've done this in the past with like Z-Core back in 2018. A lot of coins like that, they were low cap coins. You could run masternodes. A lot of masternodes compound as proof of stake as well, where you can just stack on top of that. ZOC is not that way. 01 coin is a pure masternode. They're similar to Dash. There's no staking piece to it. So here you can see December 12th is when I started it. And the break even was 16 days. And this included me actually having this offline for like 3 or 4 days. I had some problems with one of my nodes, and I actually had to essentially just restart the service, but it was down and I didn't really have monitoring on it. So technically I broke even in like 12 days of actual rewards. But at this projected time, and obviously this can change, if there's more, more masternodes coming on the network or some drop off. But the current ROI is 2,333%. And so that's looking like 23 cents a month right now. And so that sums everything up to my decentralized earnings for this month. And I excluded Flux on here, mainly because my Flux node, I'm not really claiming the parallel assets until I have enough to spin up another node. I kind of exclude Flux out of these decentralized earnings, just because I'm mainly reinvesting that Flux once I get enough to spin up another node. At this point, I only have one node, and the payouts are like one every 15 days. And so it's not that substantial right now. It's probably only a couple dollars a month. So I did exclude that from this listing, but everything else is in here. So just under $40 is what we earned in passive income. Nothing really involved in it other than just installing the software and letting it run. There really wasn't any maintenance, with the exception of Zoc. I had to do a little bit of maintenance on this one. But for the rest, there really wasn't any maintenance. It was, in fact, all of these up here, I did not touch since November. So it truly was passive. My helium miner I probably haven't touched in 6 months or so. It's been churning away. The only thing I did with this one is I did install the new wallet that you need to for the upcoming Solana migration. But that's not on the device. That is just on your mobile phone or wherever you're managing your Helium devices. But that's it for this video. Just wanted to go over my passive earnings, kind of what I'm looking at, and moving into 2023, we'll continue with Helium, Honeygain, Mysterium, both storage nodes, SCPrime. We're also going to be continuing with Packet Stream, and of course our 0 coin node, master node. And I'm looking at spinning up a bunch more master nodes of some low cap coins. Just need to make sure I have sufficient RAM on the node server that I'm running HiveOS on. But over the next month or so, I'm hoping to spin up a bunch more of these low cap coins. And I'll probably do a future video on showing you how you can connect to the wallet via Core Wallet API and actually auto send those to exchanges. Using my mining tools, you can auto exchange to Bitcoin or whatever of your choosing, and auto withdraw it to your hardware wallet or whatever wallet you see fit.